afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the last Propagandacast State of the Balance of the Year. It is December 20th. And 4 days to Christmas, but I'll be putting up episodes the entire Christmas holiday since I'm now closer to home. So, yeah, no problems about having to go home for the holidays. So, little plus ups there. But, anyways. State of the balance. I mean, overall, there's not really been a lot of huge changes. The biggest change has basically been the balance preview patch, which sort of, for the most part, sort of deals with a lot of the issues I do have. For example, I mean, again, Americans, Mortar gets nerfed, Stuart gets nerfed. I think even the Rifleman gets slightly nerfed. You know, some of the other elements actually get buffed like they're supposed to. Great stuff. Same with the British. Soviets, they're still working hard on that, particularly the penal troopers, which is a bit worrisome. And meta-wise, I mean, not really a lot of change on the Americans. More sort of lieutenant play. With more changes there, I think, again, partly in response there, there's more attempts to move for Tier 3, Shermans, Jackson. So, I mean, overall, there's a bit more spread. The doctrinally, it's largely the same. Heavy cavalry, armor, tactical support with the more going airborne or other elements there. So, there's a bit more spread out there. But overall, there's not really so much else to say there about the American metagame. And it's not much else I really want to be done about them. Similarly with the British, it's largely the same game. Some go for Comets, a few go for Churchills. Doctrinally, I think there's more of an attempt to go for other docks, a bit more Commando and the likes. But, I mean, overall, not a huge sort of tide of changes there. I think, again, doctrinally, at the most, I think needs to look into a bit to the Comet. But similarly, also think needs to link to the Panther for the Wehrmacht. Maybe also a bit for the Open Commando West. But that's, again, part of an entirely different discussion. And then finally we have the Soviets, again, a lot of work there. Doctrinally and sort of play-wise, again, some go for a lot of penal troopers, some go for maxims, some go for conscripts, doctrinally. Then Lee's got motor. You know, it's the usual suspects there as well. And again, most of the patch sort of deals with a lot of the issues I have there. Again, I think they're still, you know, getting a bit too much attention to the penal troopers and not enough to the other stuff. But, you know, I mean, overall, there's not much else to say, though. I mean, they sort of tend to play in the same patterns. You know, they go for a lot of penal troopers, or they go for a bunch of maxims. Maybe some go for conscripts. They'll try and get a T-70. Some will, you know, rush ahead for armor. I mean, they tend not to change very much if they can get away with it. I mean, for example, none are using half-jacks, despite that's going to be an absolutely great idea. But, you know, details. For the Oberkommando West, no changes either there, really. Again, mostly full Grenadiers, maybe MD-34, so they're forced to it. But otherwise, you know, Bad Group Headquarters. Some begin to go for Luxus and Pumas on the response to things, and they're doing alright there, so that's good. But otherwise, it tend to be straight into the Schwerpanzer Corps or Austrians for Jaeger spam if that happens. But otherwise, you know, Panzer IVs. Some will go for Panthers, a few will go for Jagdpanzers. I mean, Panthers tend to be a pretty good choice in most cases, so with the Panzer IV, though again, depends on who you're playing against, and the Panzer IV is sort of more if you're ahead. If you're not ahead or you're sort of more equal with them, you try and aim for the Panther. I think is sort of the best sort of choice there for the Oberkommando West at the moment. But otherwise, not much there. And overall, I mean, I still want them to have a 250 and a half. I really think the Oberkommando West needs, and I still think, you know, the flak emplacement, you know, needs to be buffed. That one is still rather rubbish. And, you know, I do think needs to look into the Oberkommando West Panther just as well a bit with the Wehrmacht. But the Wehrmacht one needs more due to overall the more resource it needs and the, you know, lack of veterancy levels it gets compared to the Oberkommando West one. Also, they should probably look into making the Oberkommando West Austrian Air from scavenge a bit harder to get, so it's not so easily spammable, which is, you know, a bit cheesy. And they still need access to smoke on the light infantry guns, you know, preferably also some kind of, you know, regular smoke grenade on some units, so, you know, they don't have to hurt themselves to do through that. That would also be really great for the Oberkommando West. And then finally, the Wehrmacht. Again, I think there's been a drop in Austrians and Zoo, which I do think is a bad idea. Austrians are the better in most cases than the Panzer IV. Again, the Panzer IV is more sort of I'm ahead unit. Otherwise, if you're not ahead, don't bother with it. Even then, it can be a bit more risky. I'm seeing more players go for Panther, Sturmpanzer. They need to work on their Panther play a bit, and Sturmpanzer-wise, again, it's sort of a bit more, you're probably better off going for a Panzer IV on Austrian rather than the Sturmpanzer, and some players tend to go for Panzerwerfers when they don't need them, because, you know, it's artillery, it's going to be great, right? It's going to be huge. It's not. Overall, though, again, not so much else there. Doctrinally, some go for elite troops, a lot go for mechanized assault to Stugee spam. Again, that's being assault by down the road with the patch, that's good. Some go for storm, you know, some go for a bit of this and that. But it's overall sort of lightning war and the likes of the Tigers, mechanized assault, mobile defense, that sort of tend to be sort of the primary attractions there in Wehrmacht land. So not much to say there. And again, they're sort of we're looking at most of the sort of changes that I really want, there in the balance preview patch. I do think they still need to look a bit at the 250 on half track there, and I think they need to really look at the Wehrmacht Panther. I mean, I'm probably going to make a video on that one more separately, but I do think the issue with the Wehrmacht Panther is increasingly, if you sort of compare it with say other sort of high-end tier stuff, you pay so many resource support and you just can't compare. There's been increasingly power creep where a lot of the allied tanks get synergies and utility, and then the Panther has nothing for it, and it doesn't have the stats, the raw stats to make up for it, or a cheaper price to make up for it, which rather leaves the Wehrmacht Panther in sort of an awkward position where it can do sort of alright, but it can't really excel. And that sort of tends to leave us in a more awkward spot. We know, for example, the Comet has better AoE, better accuracy, better experience gains, more utility, lower price, well, not per tank, but in order to get there, and just is faster to get. I mean, in some sense, the Comet is closer to the Tiger tank than the Panther, which is not really the sort of comparison one should be able to make. In which case, you compare the Comet to the Tiger, it's probably in most cases actually reasonably on the same level, except a lot cheaper, and you can get more of them. So that really sort of highlights there's a bit of an issue there with the Wehrmacht Panther, which really needs to be resolved. And a part of me thinks, they need to give it some abilities. They need to replace the Veterans 1 ability. And overall, I think they need to look into Wehrmacht having some synergies between its tanks and its infantry. And again, take the Sherman, that has a sort of passive ability, works on tanks, give it to the Wehrmacht, but have it triggered by infantry instead. A bit of accuracy, some other bits there, and I think they could all do a lot there for the Wehrmacht to give it a more unique play style, actual combined arms, and I think would also give more to the Panther, if they gave it, say, a slightly different bonus than the Panther 4. That way there'd always be reasons to go for that one. I think that sort of should be the direction Relic should go for if they actually listen to this, though again, if enough people are to just tell them to do this, that might also work. But overall, I think that's it. Again, short to sort of state of the balance, but there's just not so much to report on really as such. And again, with the balance preview patch, again, looking into most of the issues, not so much else. Again, I really think for the Wehrmacht, again, 250.5 track for the Oberkommanders, give them a 250.5 track, and overall, just look into the Panther primarily. Really, that Wehrmacht Panther needs a serious look at and needs, some actual role, some actual ability, and some actual utility, because currently, it needs, be able to do more, and it needs to do it well at that price level. Otherwise, it's still going to be sort of an option. It's not bad, but it's not good either, which pretty much just puts it at average, which is not really good for the price of investment you have to make for it, and in particular, the time investment. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this last balance state of the balance here of the year. If you didn't, subscribe, like, share, and comment on it. Of course, if you do enjoy what I've done throughout the year, do consider donating. Every little dollar helps me to keep making videos and so on. Then you can also support me via Patreon. Links in the video description there. We can sort of choose either way. And if you were to do so, that'd be most appreciated. This is Imperial Dane signing off, and see you all another time. Cheers.